So this is an interesting question here, coming from Ali. I've been an indie game developer for 3 years, and now I'm applying for jobs in the industry because I hated working from home. It's a problem a lot of people get into. Like, I like working from home because I don't like dealing with people. But a lot of people get really, really, really lonely. Again, one of those things to be thinking about when you decide how you want your career to progress. If you like working by yourself, there are options for you. And if you like working around people, there are options for you, right? Just one of those things to be thinking about. But anyways, this person is working from home, doesn't want to do it anymore. Oftentimes, I get asked in interviews about how much do I want my salary to be. I usually go, well, I did some research and this is how much a tools programmer gains, etc. Do you think that's a good way to estimate salary? Should I consider other things, like if a company is big and successful, I ask for more, or should I go with whatever is sufficient for me? But at that point, I could be selling myself less. For example, there's a nice guy I met who's building his own small studio. I would like to work for him, but I'm not sure if I should ask of him the same amount I would ask from, say, Ubisoft or whatever, because he's building himself out and probably won't be able to afford an 80K or something. Just want to know your thoughts about this. So this is a big question that comes up, especially in the modern world, because you're told, right, you watch CNBC like good little boys and girls should, and you're told you should go out there and you should negotiate deals, and you should get the most money, the most resources you possibly can from any transaction, right? So you guys all run out there and you just take your big old shotgun of stupidity and blow your own damn feet off, right? Because you're not thinking about things correctly. So here's the thing that you have to understand. Technology professionals, good technology professionals, our brains work in certain ways. The reason we are good with the things that we are good at is because our brains function in a certain way. Business people, marketing people, sales people, those type of people, their brains work in a different way. So those people are really good with things like negotiations. And the reason that they're really good with things like negotiations is because they can read the environment. They can read the people that are in front of them. So basically, if you have a really good salesperson or a very good marketing person, a very good business person, they can go into an interview and it is very much like playing poker. They're sitting there, they're controlling how their face is, they're looking at the interviewer, especially in most of the time when you go into businesses, you'll have multiple interviewers. So they're reading these people to try to figure out where they fall into the scheme of things so that they can ask the best amount. Why accept $95,000 a year if they'll give me $96,000 a year? And this is what they're good at, right? Because they're salespeople, they're marketing people, they're business people. Their jobs, if they're in fact good at their jobs, is literally about extracting more money for their company, right? So it makes sense that they're good at extracting money for themselves. The problem is then you get geeks that walk in and we try to act all smart. We try to act all sly and slick like those business people. And our brains just simply don't work that way, right? Because we go in and we deal with systems, and we deal with servers, and we deal with networks, and we deal with ones and zeros, right and wrongs, true and false. That either it is or it isn't, right? And we try to go in and we try to be all slick and sly and all that. And it just turns into an absolute and utter mess, and it's really a horrible thing. So what you need to be thinking about as far as your salary is concerned is the first thing to understand is most businesses, when you sit across from the human resources person or the CEO or the owner, they already have a salary band in mind. They're going to be hiring this type of developer. They're going to be paying between $65,000 to $75,000 a year for that developer. If you want $85,000 a year, frankly, you're probably not going to get that job. You may get boosted to a different job. So instead of being a programmer, maybe you're a lead or something. But for that job, there's a specific band. Generally, though, if you're lower than that, so let's say you walk in and $50,000 a year is okay for you. Most of the time, they'll boost you up to 65, whatever their minimum amount is, just in due course. Basically, there's two reasons for that. One, there's a lot of compliance crap out there that they have to deal with. Like, imagine if you're a black woman that gets hired for a programming job who says that they'll accept $50,000 a year, and all the white men in the department are making a minimum of $65,000 a year. Now, in reality, the mentality may be, this person accepted $50,000 a year, that's why we're paying her $50,000 a year. The you know what I'm saying? The political correct view of that is all these white males are making at least $15,000 a year more than this black woman. You're about to get your ass sued off, right? So basically, for companies, keeping people within bands just makes a lot of sense from a legal standpoint. Again, you have gay people, you have black people, you have all these different minorities and all of that. You know, you can... $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, even promotions, as horrible as it is, it's easier to be racistly promote people than simply people at the exact same job making huge, different amounts of money. So they'll generally, if they want to hire you, they'll boost you at least to that minimum, just so they don't wind up with any kind of weird legal issues. Because again, they may not even know you're gay, right? They're not even allowed to ask that you're gay. I mean, think about that. Like things like you're gay. You're not even able to ask that you're gay. You accept a job for $15,000 less than everybody else. A year later, you start saying the reason that you're getting $15,000 less is because you're gay. That's a mess, right? So they're just going to boost you for that. The other reason that they'll boost you at least to that minimum is because, employees just get really snide and snarky and bitchy when they find out that other employees are making significantly more than they are. Again, it should be a negotiation process. When you hire somebody, this is the job task that we're hiring for you for. How much do you want to do that job task? Okay, you accept this money. You are agreeing to do this work for this amount of money. We're all good, right? That's how it should work. And then you go off and you be a good employee and I pay you properly and everybody should be happy. Instead, you accept the $50,000 a year. You start working, you get in there for about 3 months. You start talking to other people, find out the minimum for everybody else is $65,000 a year, and then you start feeling like I'm not getting paid enough to do the work I'm expected to do, and then your quality goes to hell. You forget that there was a negotiation process where you went through all of this and you agreed to do the specific work for the specific amount of money, right? And again, what you have to understand in business is not about right or wrong. Right or wrong doesn't matter. It's about the reality. If you have whiny, pissy, just snarky employees, it just doesn't help anybody. So again, if you say you'll work for 50 and the base salary for that position is 65, they just raise you to 65 because they just don't want to deal with it. Again, if you're crying and whining because somebody that's been with the company longer than you is making $2,000 or $3,000 more per year, then you're just a worthless piece of crap that needs to get fired anyway. Because it's just so, right? It's like, these are rounding errors in business. On the other hand, if you're making $15,000 less, everybody looks at it and goes, yeah, that's kind of dickish, isn't it? So you get raised up. So the first thing is, like I say, if you're worried about too low, generally you get raised up. Then as far as the high part, are you worth $90,000 a year, $100,000 a year, $150,000 a year? Again, the question that you have to ask is, what are your bills? What are your needs? This is one of the biggest issues that I ran into with running a business is I had employees. Again, we would go through this negotiation process. I would tell them how much they are getting paid. They would accept that amount, and surprise, surprise, 2 months later I would find out that amount of money isn't paying their bills. I'm not making enough money. It's like, you've only been working for me for 2 months. We negotiated the salary, you knew what the salary was coming. Again, I paid salary. We just went flat salary. So you knew. It wasn't like I'm going to pay you $20 an hour and I tell you you're going to get 50 hours a week and then you happen to get 20, right? That I would understand. But it's like the first week, it's a salary. You get that amount of money. But that's a problem, is people get so desperate for jobs that they accept pay rates, they accept pay scales that don't pay the bills. And then that just doesn't work for anybody because they're so desperate. I need a job. But then they take the job, and then it's only like 2 months later that they realize that the job they just took still isn't paying their mortgage. And then it gets into all kinds of mess. So what you need to be thinking about is what do you want to make? What do you feel that you are worth? Are you worth 20 bucks an hour, 50 bucks an hour, 100 bucks an hour? That is your call. That is your decision. And so what you need to do is you need to think about how much am I worth? Again, that's how, I get a lot of offers. People sending me stuff. And I mean, basically, it's a really simple way to weed through the offers. Is I know how much I am worth to myself. I will leave that to myself because everybody gets snarky when I say it. But I know I know what amount of money will make me interested in something. So if I look at it and it's dramatically less than that amount of money, I basically ignore it. Who the hell cares? Don't care, right? If the offer that comes in is within the ballpark, then I might take a look at it. If I say however much and it's like 10% less, we'll take a look at it. Now, but that is where I have decided how much money I need. What is my mortgage? What are my car payments? What is my insurance payment? I want to take vacations. I know that seems like a frickin' bourgeoisie concept to people, but I believe middle class people should be able to take vacations and all that kind of stuff. And so you take all of that and you figure what is the minimum salary that you want. Now, where you may tweak your salary. So you say, I want to make $100,000 a year. I want to make $60,000 a year, $150,000 a year. Now you have that in mind. So that is the amount of money that will make you happy. And again, that's one of the things that you have to be thinking about is you are agreeing to work for these people. You are going into a business relationship with these people. So if these people are paying your salary, they pay you the salary you agreed to, and then you don't do the work that you agreed to, you in fact are the a-hole there, right? I know everybody likes to blame bosses for like everything in the world, but if you agree to something and then you don't live up to those expectations, it's your problem. And so the issue is you want to make sure that you're making enough money that you'll be happy to do this job, right? That's the thing. Is this an amount of money where you're going to walk in every day and essentially be satisfied? I'm not saying you have to have a smile on your face. I'm not saying it has to be the best job in the world. But when you get done with an 8-hour day and you get your paycheck, do you look at that and go, yeah, that sounds about right. I'm comfortable with that. Because if it's too low, like I say, you get pissy and you get bitchy and your work suffers. But then people start looking at you and they see you as a bad employee. Anyways, so you pick whatever that number is, and you decide what that number is. But that's the thing. You decide what the number is. Now, where you may bring that number down is, again, within our industry, the way that we make a lot of money, basically how we really make our money, is by being experts in certain areas. So sometimes you will take it is wise to take a pay cut now so that you can make more money later. So like with the Silicon Discourse meetings that I'm doing right now. So again, I do these Skype meetings with people. It's an hour on Skype talking with you guys. And I could try to charge a lot of money for that. I know I could charge north of $100 an hour. How many people would accept it? How long would it take to build? I don't know. So one of the things that I've done is I've decreased the price down to $5. It's probably going to go up to $10 soon. Like a really small amount, pocket change, $5 or $10 for these meetings. The reason is because I want to build up the business of doing Skype meetings so that I'm doing 10 to 20 meetings a week and I can build that up more quickly. The more people that I work with, the more times that I do this, the more it is known that I do this, it'll allow me to build this up so that, again, hopefully in a year or two, I have 20 meetings a week at 100 or 150 versus, I'm saying you grow. So that's one thing that you have to think about. If you're a programmer, if you're a game developer, is there may be a company out there like this company that you're talking about that you met a nice guy with his small studio. You may look at that and you may think, I really believe in this guy. This guy has investors, or this guy has money. This guy has a track record. The games that this person has really are visionary. I can really see where these games could go. So here's the fact of the matter. Right now, year 1, 2, and 3, the guy just can't pay very much money, right? Got a good plan, it got backing, got vision. I believe in this. This guy just doesn't, this guy only has so much money. So you may go into that and you say, okay, well I need to make, let's say I should be making $80,000 a year. This guy can't pay $80,000 a year. Let's say he can pay $60,000 or $50,000 a year. But you walk into it and you go, listen, I really like what you're doing. I really believe in what you're doing. I'll take $50,000 a year. But with the understanding I'm your first, second, third employee, so I move up the ranks a hell of a lot quicker. Right? So if you're a normal developer, if you're a normal IT professional, to go from noob to senior might take 5 years, right? Because not only is it that you get better at what you do, but it's also that positions open up, right? You may be as good as you're ever going to be at desktop support, but the fact of the matter is you can't start being a junior level at systems administrator until a position opens up. So what you do is you go into one of the, like a small company, you say, I'll take $50,000 now, but I expect that my career will be accelerated. I will start now as your developer. I expect once we have a team that as long as I do what I'm supposed to do, I will be team lead. I expect, as soon as, we have a big enough programmers that there's multiple team leads, that I will be the director, blah, blah, right? Get what I'm saying? So the idea is you take a little bit less now. Basically what you're looking at, though, is you're looking at the overall compensation package that you will receive. And again, for us, and again, this is what's very important to understand, where we are different from salespeople, from business people, is much of our compensation is things like education, right? It's simply that we have done this stuff before. Do we have experience doing things? People want to hire and people want to pay for people who have experience. The problem is how do you get experience? Well, one of the ways that you can get experience is if you will work for 20% less than everybody else in the job market, you get hired for this job that will give you the experience. So again, in 2 or 3 years, you can then double your salary, right? It's all this kind of... That's the thing, and a lot of it is like, yeah. So basically what it comes down to for your salary, this is very important, is figure out what you need. There is nothing worse in the world, and I see this so many times, where people accept jobs that don't pay their bill. Figure out what you need. If you need 50, if you need 100, if you need 20, you figure it out. Figure out what you need. Figure out what will make you happy. So if you're going to be going into this job, what makes you happy, right? You may look at it and go, well, these people don't have a ping pong table. But if they pay me $10,000 more per year, I'll buy my own ping pong table, right? Think about that. What will make you happy? And then finally, like I say, is when you're going in for a new company or a new experience, try to think in your own mind yes, you make less money now, but if that gives you more experience, then in 5 years, you'll end up making more money overall. Again, as I say, as technology professionals, most people look at how much they make per month. Like laborers, like low-level cog employees, they look at how much they make per month. Most professionals look at how much they make per year. I would argue honestly, truly, as technology professionals, you really should be looking at what you make per decade, right? 1 year you may lose money. 1 year you may make 5 times what you're supposed to. The next year you make a normal amount, right? You look at it on that overall, that longer time frame, and I think if you do that, it'll answer a lot of these questions for you. Again, like I say, do you want to make $80,000 a year now as a standard programmer and continue to do that for the next 5 years? Or do you want to take $50,000 a year now, but in 3 years you'll be a senior developer or you'll be a team lead who's worth $150,000 or $200,000? Again, I've talked about that with development shops, and it really is true, where they're talking about, like with most programmers, are not talking about like really the high cutting edge programmers, but most programmers top out at about the $150,000 a year mark, whatever it is they are. And really what takes them over that is management. Again, at the end of the day, it all really does come down to business. And so if you have that team lead experience, you go into a startup company, you lead a team of 5 developers, having that experience will then significantly make you more valuable. So those are the thoughts, those are the things to think about. But yeah, I mean, it really does, like I say, with money, it comes down what makes you happy. What puts a smile on your face. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And then, like I say, as far as this whole like the negotiation tactics and all that kind of stuff, I'm not saying it doesn't work for some professions. I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, this doesn't work at all. But it doesn't work the way a lot of people think it does, and you just have to be really careful. Because again, what you have to understand is, like, as a programmer, I mean, you're working on infrastructure, you're working on the core of the business, and a lot of times when you're being interviewed, you're going to be interviewed by other geeks, you're going to be interviewed by other technology professionals. So one of the things that you have to think about is from the interviewer standpoint, when they're interacting with you, if their first interaction, if their first view of you is that you're already trying to game and manipulate the system, is that somebody that you want to hire? You know, if I'm sitting down with an interview, and again, you're a geek, so you're not good at playing poker, right? You're just not good at it. You're just, and like, I can already see, like, from the very first moment I meet you, I already see that you're trying to game the system. Is that somebody that I want to be working with for, 10, 12, 20 hours at a time? Hell no, right? So again, figure out what you need, figure out what you want, and figure out what'll make you happy, and then go from there. I mean, if you really want the most money you can possibly get, it really is true, go and suck up with recruiters. Again, recruiters are business people, right? Recruiters, HR, right? So if you're really like, Eli, I want to make the most money possible, go get a good relationship with a recruiter, because that recruiter knows how to play the whole salary poker game. And remember, recruiters essentially get 25% of your first year salary. So if they get you $100,000 a year, that means they get 25 grand. If they get $150,000 a year, that means they get 35 grand. Right? So they want to negotiate more money for you. Right? So if you really care about the money and all that, go find yourself a good recruiter. Otherwise, just be comfortable. Just figure out what it is you want and need in life.